Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, Jeff.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for sitting down with us and having a chat about mini masters.
No worries.
Yeah, and very excited about having you run a masterclass on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, what's your journey been so far with painting and modelling and hobby?
Years. Like I probably started in the early 90s, like when I was a kid, just painting and mucking around, because I always draw and make and that kind of thing. So it was a natural kind of progression when my brother started playing Warhammer Fantasy. Second edition, so way back when I just started painting the miniatures, was a big draw for me, because it was just lots of fun to do, and then get to play with them on the table and kind of hang out. It was good fun.
And how did you sort of initially get introduced into the world?
Through my brother. Yep.
Through your brother?
Yep, through my big brother.
Yep.
So he and his mates used to play it, and I used to hang around and annoy them, and then eventually some of my cousins and friends got into it as well, and we kind of kicked off from there. So.
And was your brother the sort of person that played and not sort of painted, or painted and played, or?
He was more about the strategy of the games.
Yep.
Like he just was prolific with the amount of kind of strategic war games that he got. The painting, he liked the making of the terrain and crafting and stuff like that.
Yep.
I got into more of the painting side of things.
Yep.
So.
And were you more painting than playing?
Yeah, not for want.
Yep.
Like it was painting. Like the hobby is great in that like there's so many facets to it. So when you can't play, and you can't always find people to play, especially back then, like pre-internet, it was just within your local community and very cautiously giving out word of mouth, like, because it was a little bit fringe at that time. So you're kind of, Lord of the Rings was another big thing that put me in. And to that point of like, I've got one of the first little models that I painted up here. This is Gimli.
Yep.
So, and it's a range of miniatures. I can't find any more mithril. Like I couldn't even find, I was talking to someone about the other Lord of the Rings miniatures and it just couldn't find evidence of these anywhere. So they were some of my favourite little ones that I found, and did what's it called? Like a mail, like you pay by post.
Okay.
Had to pay by post. It was like I got a Milson's catalogue, and you would look through at all the different miniatures, and they would mainly be, every now and again you'll get a photo, but I wanted to get all the Lord of the Rings characters.
And that's
so
really
Gimli I
heavy.
really loved. Yeah. It's probably lead.
Yeah.
Don't put it in your mouth.
All right. Don't lick my fingers afterwards. Thanks.
No, it's but they're great little minis. And then kind of going on from there and getting into orcs.
Yep.
Just loved the kind of silly craziness of orcs and painted them.
We're talking Games Workshop orcs?
Yeah, Games Workshop orcs, but they were also Citadel and Rail Partha.
Yep.
Like this Citadel was Games Workshop, but you had Rail Partha and you had Mithril as well. Okay. So there was multiple miniature companies at that point. It wasn't just Games Workshop. Before Citadel kind of dominated the market towards the end of the 90s kind of thing.
Yeah.
They built up their momentum.
Yeah, cool. You actually have a different journey to a lot of the people I've spoken to so far. A lot of them sort of got into it just by randomly walking past a Games Workshop store. So
in Port Lincoln there was no Games Workshop.
Okay, yeah. So everything was sort of mail order at that stage?
Yeah, mail order, just purely on like our friendship circles, and like D&D was this mysterious thing, and but you know, Warhammer roleplay games and stuff like that, we would have to order stuff in. There was nowhere local that supplied any of it, other than the local newsagents would have White Dwarf kind of stuff. And that was your little sampler of like, oh, what's Mordenheim, or, you know, like, and then you would kind of go, that was it really. Yeah, There was no advertising on telly about it.
So is that kind of how you knew what to order in from White Dwarf?
No, it was purely from like ordering in the Milson's catalogues.
Oh, and cool.
So that was like one of the main ways that we kind of, and what we were playing at the time. So there was a few different rule variants. I can't remember all of them, but like we weren't strictly like we cast our own minis. So we had my brother got some molds, and we used lead.
From
and,
lead, yeah.
Cast our own miniatures and
Yep.
stuff in the backyard.
Wow.
So we did like a lot of, I guess you'd call it proxying of minis,
Yep.
because we didn't have access to a Games Workshop store unless we went to Adelaide,
That's amazing.
and then the price of that was a bit forbidding for us.
How did you get the
point.
lead? Was that melting down battery components?
Sinkers.
or- Sinkers. Okay,
Yeah, fishing
cool.
sinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you can make sinkers from
Yes.
melting down
Yeah.
battery
Yeah,
channels.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
So what are you playing now?
Well, right now I like lots of different games. As far as war games go, like Infinity's my kind of go-to there. And I just love seeing different companies do different things with rule sets and that type of thing. So really big fan of supporting small independent kind of producers and stuff like that in the gaming world. So just love seeing different things coming out, different rules all the time, so many games.
Yeah. You're sort of quite big in the Infinity community here in SA. Tell me about Infinity.
Infinity is a skirmish game, so that is based about 240-ish years in our future.
Yep.
And humanity's spread out into the galaxy and colonising worlds and being grumpy with each other as we do.
Yeah.
But it's not as grimdark. It's not grimdark.
Okay.
So it's quite more of a cyberpunk, but even more positive than that kind of dystopian kind of outlook. Like we've fixed things, we've dealt with things, we've colonized planets, and we're figuring it out. But corporations suck. So it simulates that kind of vying for power and control when all-out war becomes too improbable. So to wage all-out war, they did it a couple of times, and the cost was just not worth the outcome. Like the cost in resources and human lives and the level of destruction, because technology is that far ahead of where we are now.
Yeah.
So that's their meta for like why all of a sudden it's just back into this little 10 troops fighting each other over kind of really unknown little pushing of these corporations or factions trying to get particular things.
Yeah.
So
It seems like a really cool game.
it is very cool.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly involved, because when it's not your turn, you have reactions to everything your opponent does. So you're constantly thinking strategically about your position on the map. And it's very objective orientated. It's not just killing each other, although that does happen. You're very vulnerable.
Yep.
Like most characters will have 1 health. So you fail an armor save, you're dead.
There you
So
go. Yeah.
it's very brutal. And that takes people a bit to adjust to. But so it's very reflective of me too, for me too. Like getting shot by a gun isn't something that you can just shrug off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurts, I
Right.
imagine.
Well, changing the subject a little bit. So you are not just known for your art in terms of the hobby world. Tell us a little bit about your other art endeavours.
I am also an illustrator, so an artist. I work out of the Barossa Valley. I do heaps of kids' workshops and that type of thing, especially with cardboard, like making different things. I started something this year called the Cardboard Blacksmith, which has been a lot of fun, and that's growing. So it's always those hesitant first few steps when you have a new idea that are where you feel the most vulnerable. But it's picking up momentum, which is really cool, and I've had some really successful workshops with it. Other than that, I do like commission art pieces and kids' books and that type of stuff.
Yep.
So,
And you've done a few commission work for painting models for people?
yeah,
is that right?
kind of kicked off. Just my wife suggested I put some of my stuff on Etsy, and just as a throwaway kind of thing, because I enjoy painting.
Yep.
And I did, and then I started getting commissions through there, and that has been pretty constant since I started it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been without a job on the desk
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it's been really interesting.
Yeah, cool. Do you find there's this common theme of what's important to the person that sort of ordered the commission for you? Something that they sort of look for in their commission work?
That's an interesting question. A common theme. Well, a lot of it is you seem to, like, people will attach onto you. So they kind of come back. I get a lot of repeat kind of customs. So a lot of them have been interstate.
Yeah, cool.
So I haven't had direct kind of, I really like this about the way you do yours compared to Dot.
Yep.
So, but I have a bit of a different style to how I paint. I'm pretty, like the way I draw, it's pretty loose and sketchy at times, but a lot of energy in it. So,
yeah, cool.
I imagine that's some of it.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to my next question. So, what is unique about your art style that makes you stand out from anyone else?
I think it's some of that. Like, so it's that I like to kind of use a lot of brush strokes in my work. So there'll be texture in it that you'll see in the detail. I won't go for 100% realism.
Yep.
Like, I want character and story in the work I make, whether it's painting a miniature or my other illustrative work. It's always about story. So and with these, we are telling stories on the tabletop. So to help facilitate that, it's about using my skills for that, really.
Yep.
So connecting to story.
That's very lovely. And it's something that one of our judges, Victoria, really said was important to her as well. She came from a theatre background, so a set design and costume design background. Story and theme was really important. So it's interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah. Well, we are telling stories. Whether we play a board game or a war game, it's about like getting together with a group of friends and connecting. So and story is something that's just constant throughout humanity's history. Yeah. So cool. Little stories with little people. Your
masterclass is a masterclass for beginners, but it's also likely to be really valuable for anyone of any skill level. Tell me about what your sort of plans are for the masterclass.
The plans are like what I really want to convey and get people into with the process of painting miniatures is to take the fear out of it. That it's not about being the best or like having it have to look a particular way. It's always going to have a bit of your personality in what you make, and it's a part of your personal journey. So when you start something, it's never going to be the same as what you become in that process. So you're going to grow in and your skills will grow, but it's starting. It's just getting paint on the minis, getting them on the table. It just helps build that narrative. So just that immersion, it just creates a little bit of immersion. So it's going to be about just like looking at like blocking out colours, what colours we're using, what story we want to tell with our minis, like even going into a little bit of like who are they? Like what do you want to say with them? Yeah, cool. So just keeping it simple and fun. Yeah.
Amazing. For beginners, what would you say, are there any sort of tips that you would say the very first thing you need to do before you start painting is?
Have a paintbrush.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. And some paints. Like have a setup. Have good light. Light is really important. So having good light, and that gets more relevant, important the older you get as well.
So have the glasses.
Well, you do have the big zoomy glasses at times can help. Sometimes it doesn't. But like just keeping it real simple, like not thinking you have to buy everything to get started. Start with a few colours. Remember also you can mix colours. So you don't have to get every shade of yellow. You can get a yellow and you can tone it or change it with other colours. So looking how colours interact with each other as well is another thing I really like to do.
Yeah, cool. So, beautiful. So where do you see painting going in the future? What do you think the future is for this hobby?
For the hobby of miniature painting? Well, I think that's an interesting one. The technology in painting, in art in general, is very slow to change. Like we have digital art now, but watercolor is still painted in a very traditional way. So as long as there's miniatures that aren't pre-painted to a high standard with computers, there'll be a space for the hobby going forward. And it's going to come down to that capacity to tell story with what you're doing as well. So how you're connecting to people. Because it's just all that building those kind of meanings and story into the little people we get on the table and have fun with. So.
Yeah, cool. And what's exciting you at the moment in the hobby?
I've been just starting, and this is probably something that most of the other painters would be like, have been doing for years, but I've only just started using an airbrush. Ooh. So just starting to figure that out.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm enjoying. I enjoy exploring different kind of methods.
Yeah.
It's just always finding the time to really push into it, but and how they can help add to things, you know. So, yeah, I'm enjoying
cool.
that.
Oh, that's sweet. So you are studying to be a teacher currently,
yes.
And I've seen you teach new things, and you've taught new things to me. You're exceptionally good at it. What do you expect that beginners are going to be able to sort of get from you for the masterclass on Saturday?
I think look to get some foundational steps in what to do, but also permission to make mistakes, because that's important part of it. Not being too anchored to getting it perfect. But a little bit of colour theory, a little bit of thinking about like what meaning we're putting into what we're doing, but nothing too heavy. It's just going to be fun. We're just going to get some paint on minis, and like I've been playing around, like contrasts are a really good, easy way to start just getting some nice poppy colours on things and stuff like that, and you can build and layer up on things. So
Fantastic. Well, is there anything you'd like to shout out, have a chat about before we sort of finish up?
Oh God, that's a good question.
You can shout out your own, Instagram or own artwork that you're doing.
Yep, Paint Mini Battle. So that's my Instagram page. If you're looking to get any painting done or anything like that, you can also find me on Little Adventurers. So is for the cardboard workshops and other art things, or just Sam Cowley on Instagram as well for illustrative work. So I wear many hats.
Yeah, you certainly do. Or you can see him at our tabletop.
Oh yeah, I work here.
He also works at tabletop warfare. Awesome, cool. Well, I think we're all good to go. Thanks so much for agreeing to meet with me today, and thanks so much for running the beginner session. I think people are going to get so much from it.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's very exciting and so cool. Like I love the community aspect of this stuff. So.
Me too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sam.
Cheers.